The angels say your hardest season is ending and a new door is opening. My beloved child, if this message has found you today, please understand that it did not reach you by accident. Out of every path you could have taken, every video you could have stumbled upon, something guided you here. And that something was me. I know what you have been carrying. I know the weight that has settled into your chest so quietly that you almost forgot it was not supposed to be there. I know the nights you lay awake wondering if things would ever change. Wondering if you had somehow been forgotten. You have not been forgotten. Not for a single moment. Listen closely, my child. I need you to hear what I am about to say, not just with your ears, but with the deepest part of your heart. The season you have been living through, the one that has stretched you thin and tested everything you thought you knew about yourself, that season is drawing to a close. A new door is opening for you. And the angels themselves have been sent to make sure this message reaches you today. I have watched you. I have seen every silent tear you wiped away before anyone else could notice. I have heard every prayer you whispered when the room was dark and the world felt impossibly heavy. I have been present in every moment you thought you were completely alone. You were never alone. But I understand why it felt that way. There is something I want you to understand about the season you have been in. It was not a punishment. It was not a sign that you were lost, or forgotten, or somehow less deserving than the people around you whose lives seemed easier, brighter, more full of forward motion. It was preparation. Think about a seed, my child. When a seed is placed into the earth, it disappears into darkness. It cannot see the sun. It cannot feel the warmth of spring. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. To anyone looking at that patch of soil, there is only stillness. Only silence. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary is taking place. The seed is not dying. It is becoming. It is breaking open, sending roots deeper into the ground than it ever could have reached while sitting in the light. It is gathering everything it needs for the moment it will rise. That is what has been happening inside of you. Every moment of confusion you endured was your roots growing deeper. Every season of waiting was your foundation being made strong enough to hold everything I am about to place in your life. You could not see it from where you were standing. But I could see it perfectly. My dear child, the angels do not carry messages of false hope. They do not speak comfort where there is no comfort to be found. When they say your hardest season is ending, they mean it with the full weight of heaven behind those words. And today, I am saying it to you directly. Something is shifting. Something is turning. The ground beneath your life is moving in ways you have not yet been able to feel, but you will. Stay with me. There is so much more I want to show you. I want to take you back for a moment, my child. Back to the beginning of this hard season you have been walking through. Do you remember when it first started? When something shifted and life suddenly felt heavier than it ever had before. Perhaps it was a loss. Perhaps it was a relationship that crumbled. Perhaps it was a dream that seemed to collapse the moment you had finally gathered enough courage to reach for it. Whatever it was, I watched you face it. And I want you to know something. The way you kept going, even when you did not feel strong, even when every step forward felt like walking through deep water, that took more courage than you have ever given yourself credit for. You are stronger than you know. And I have always known just how strong you are. But strength alone was never the full story I was writing for your life. Listen carefully, my child. There is a difference between a life that is simply endured and a life that is truly lived. And what I have been doing during this season, quietly, patiently, with a love that goes far deeper than you can imagine, is moving you from one into the other. You see, there are things I needed to build in you that could not be built any other way. Compassion that is genuine can only grow in a heart that has known real pain. Wisdom that is lasting can only be formed through seasons of deep uncertainty. Strength that is unshakable can only be tested into existence. I was not standing at a distance watching you struggle. I was in the struggle with you, shaping something inside of you that the world will one day recognize as extraordinary. Think about a river, my child. A slow and patient river, moving through a canyon over the course of many years. No one watching that river in a single moment would say it is powerful. It looks quiet. It looks almost still at times. And yet, that same river, through nothing but consistency and time, carves formations in stone that take the breath away. You are that river. The obstacles you have faced, the hardness of the path beneath your feet, they have not stopped you. They have shaped you. And what is being carved out of this season of your life is something breathtaking. I want you to think about the people in your life whose presence carries a certain depth. The ones who seem to understand without being told. The ones whose peace feels real rather than performed. The ones who can sit with you in your darkest moment and not flinch. Those people were not born that way. They were formed. Season by season, loss by loss, question by question, they were shaped into vessels capable of holding something greater. That is what I have been doing with you. This message was meant for you, and every word I am speaking is drawn from my perfect knowledge of exactly where you are and exactly where I am taking you. You are not at the end of your story. You are at the turning point. My precious one, I want to talk to you about something that very few people allow themselves to truly sit with. And that is the feeling of being unseen. Not invisible in the obvious sense, but unseen in the way that matters most. The feeling that the real you, the you beneath the smile you wear for others, beneath the strength you perform so that no one worries, beneath the version of yourself you present to the world every single day, that the real you has gone unnoticed. I see that version of you. I have always seen that version of you. And I need you to hear this clearly. The fact that you kept showing up for others even while carrying that feeling, the fact that you kept giving, kept loving, kept trying, even when no one fully saw the cost it was taking on you inside, that is not something I have overlooked. I have seen every single act of quiet faithfulness you have offered when no one was watching. There is something I want you to understand about this season of feeling unseen. It was not a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of where you were positioned. And positioning, my child, is something I control. There are certain gifts I place inside people that cannot be revealed in every environment. There are certain depths that can only be recognized by the right eyes, in the right season, at the right time. And part of what I have been doing while you waited, while you wondered, while you quietly questioned whether any of it mattered, is moving you into position. The right people are coming. The right doors are being aligned. The right circumstances are being arranged with a precision that your human eyes could not fully track even if I showed you the full picture right now. Trust that I know what I am doing. Think about a gardener, my child. A skilled and patient gardener who tends a garden not according to the impatience of the season, but according to a deep knowledge of what each plant needs and when. That gardener does not panic when a flower has not yet bloomed. That gardener does not uproot a plant simply because it has not yet shown what it is capable of becoming. That gardener watches, tends, adjusts the soil, protects from frost, and waits with a confidence that comes from knowing something the plant itself cannot yet see. I am that gardener. And you are not a plant that has been neglected. You are one I have been tending with extraordinary care. My dear child, the confusion you have felt during this season, the sense that you could not quite find your footing, that you knew something was supposed to be different but could not name what it was, that confusion was not a sign that you were lost. It was a sign that you were between chapters. And anyone who has ever lived a story worth telling knows that the space between chapters can feel disorienting. The old has ended but the new has not yet fully appeared. That space is uncomfortable. But it is also sacred. You are in that sacred space right now. And I am with you in it. My beloved child, I want to speak to you today about something that has been quietly weighing on your heart, perhaps more than you have admitted even to yourself. It is the fear that you have somehow missed your moment. The fear that time has moved too quickly, that others have stepped into opportunities that were meant for you, that the window for the life you were supposed to live has somehow closed without you walking through it. That fear has visited you in the quiet moments, has it not? In the early hours of the morning when the world is still and your thoughts grow loud. I want to address that fear directly, and I want you to receive what I am about to say with an open heart. My timing is not your timing. And that is not a limitation. That is a gift. There is not a single soul who has ever walked this earth and received something from my hand at the wrong moment. Not one. Every provision I have ever released into a life was released at precisely the moment that life was ready to carry it. No sooner. No later. And your moment, my precious one, has not passed. It is approaching. Think about winter, my child. True winter. The kind that settles in deeply and makes the world look as though it has forgotten how to be alive. The trees stand bare. The ground becomes hard. The color drains from everything until the landscape looks almost entirely without hope. And yet beneath that frozen ground, beneath that gray and heavy sky, life is not absent. It is gathering itself. It is conserving, consolidating, pulling every resource inward so that when the appointed moment arrives, when the first true warmth of spring breaks through, the response will be explosive. That is what has been happening in your life during this long and difficult season. You have not been stagnant. You have been gathering. And what is about to be released from your life will reflect everything that was quietly building beneath the surface of all that stillness. Listen closely, my child. I want to tell you something about the door that is opening before you. It will not look exactly like what you imagined. The plans you drew in your own mind, the timelines you constructed, the specific shape you believed your breakthrough would take, those human blueprints were drawn with limited vision. What I am opening for you has been designed with a perspective that stretches far beyond what you could have mapped out for yourself. It will be better. Not just different. Better. I have been watching every desire of your heart. Not just the ones you have spoken aloud, but the ones so deep you barely allowed yourself to think them. The quiet longings you tucked away because they felt too large, too unlikely, too far from where you currently stood. Those longings were not accidents. I placed them there. They were never meant to torment you. They were meant to orient you, to keep you facing the direction I was always planning to take you. Nothing about your journey has been wasted, my child. Not the detours. Not the delays. Not the disappointments that knocked the breath out of you. Every single piece has been purposeful. My dear child, I want to pause here for a moment and speak directly to your exhaustion. Not the kind of exhaustion that a good night of sleep can repair. I am talking about the deeper kind. The kind that has settled into your spirit after months, perhaps years, of holding on. Of believing. Of getting back up every time life knocked you down, only to find yourself needing to get back up again. That kind of tiredness is real. And I do not dismiss it. There is a particular kind of weariness that comes from being a person who refuses to give up. And you are that kind of person. You have always been that kind of person. But even the most determined heart reaches moments where it quietly whispers, "How much longer, Lord? How much longer do I need to hold on before something changes?" I hear that whisper, my child. I have always heard it. And today I want to answer it. Not much longer. The shift you have been waiting for is closer than it has ever been. The ground beneath your circumstances is already moving, even if your natural eyes cannot yet detect the change. What has felt completely immovable is beginning to give way. What has felt permanently closed is beginning to loosen at the edges. You do not need to manufacture the strength to push it open. That was never your job. Your job was to remain. To trust. To keep your heart open even when everything around you gave you reason to close it. And you have done that. Even imperfectly, even through your doubts, even on the days when trusting me was the hardest thing you had ever done, you did it. That matters more than you know. My precious one, think about a storm moving through a forest. Watch what it does to the trees. The ones with shallow roots, the ones that were never asked to hold on through difficulty, they are the first to fall. But the trees that have weathered season after season, the ones whose roots were driven deeper by every previous storm, those trees bend dramatically. They are tested in ways that look, from the outside, almost violent. And yet they do not break. When the storm passes and the forest is still again, those trees stand with a quiet, unshakable authority. Not because they were never tested, but because they were. That is the authority I have been building into your life. There are people who will need what you carry. There are souls who will sit across from you one day, broken and convinced that their situation is hopeless, and your presence alone will remind them that it is not. Because you will know from the inside of your own lived experience that God is faithful. Not as a concept. Not as a theology. But as a reality you walked through and survived. That testimony is being written right now. In these very days that have felt the longest and the hardest. I have been watching over you through every moment of this season. Not as a distant observer. But as a father who has been close enough to catch you every single time you came close to falling. You have been held, my child. Even when you could not feel it. Especially then.